Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker is said to have many different revelations and saga-wide implications in this film by writer and director J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. So, one great thing about Episode 9 is that we do know that this film is going to introduce a total of 8 new characters in this story that are going to be used in order to evolve the characters of Rey and Kylo Ren. Now, I will admit that at first I was very hesitant, or very, I guess you could say, concerned about there being so many new characters in this story, but mind you, a lot of these characters are in fact going to have screen time, with of course characters like Kylo Ren, Rey, Leia, and a whole lot more. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film, and when it all comes down to one of the scene descriptions and one of the set leaks, this is where things begin to get very intriguing for Episode 9. Now, specifically, it's described that one of the scenes that were shot during the month of January included Adam Driver as Kylo Ren facing the unnamed actor portraying the Dark Acolyte who serves as the new villain in the film, both of which were wielding cross-guard lightsabers, or should I say lightsabers, where it said that one of the scenes involved the villain dashing toward Kylo Ren by using the iconic Palpatine spin technique, where he used the Force Scream technique and clashed lightsabers with Kylo, where he eventually is able to Force choke Kylo Ren in mid-air, while lifting him up and telling him revelations about his grandfather Darth Vader, and reminding him that the origins of the dark side is what gives him the ability to live on forever. The conflict is said to end where Daisy Ridley portraying Rey was attached to wirework where she performed a backflip and kicks the villain out of the way, causing Kylo Ren to fall down to the ground. Another sequence involved both Kylo and the villain using Force lightning against each other, where both strikes of lightning are fused eventually together, causing the villain to fly backward into a wall, where the rubble falls on top of him. That leads to a sequence in which both Rey and Kylo use opposite lightsabers against the villain, and while their sabers are locked together, it's said that the villain goes on to dig into the minds of both Kylo Ren and Rey, where the character reveals new truths about Kylo and Rey that phases them and interrupts them during the battle. The villain was also said to give a speech about the pleasure of fighting both the light and the dark, however explains that he is of a whole different medium of power. So I want to go over a couple of parts about this. Now, among the 8 characters or more that will be introduced in Episode 9, I will say and admit here that this is the character that I am most looking forward to, the Dark Acolyte, most likely being portrayed by Matt Smith, since Matt Smith's character is on lockdown and they're keeping him a very big secret in his involvement with this movie. So, with that being said, this new villain is able to use the technique of Force Lightning and the Palpatine's Force Scream, if you will. Now, just a couple of hours ago, we actually went over how the Spirit of Sidious is going to be involved and will be affiliated with the Dark Acolyte. I don't know about you guys, but it seems more and more likely now that the Dark Acolyte is indeed going to be Palpatine all along in The Rise of Skywalker in order to bring back Emperor Palpatine in a very unique and original way that we have never seen before on the big screen for Star Wars. Now, I know a lot of people are probably going to criticize that, as being too much like The Exorcist or something around those lines, but at the end of the day, if you look at Palpatine and if you look at the expanded universe, we've seen great examples of this being made, and after all, we do know that George Lucas was the one who made the final decision of exactly how Palpatine would come back in Episode 9. Kathleen Kennedy herself said that Palpatine was in the cards for years since The Force Awakens, except they never really knew how to bring him back or never really decided how he was going to come back in Episode 9 up until George Lucas came in and was involved with The Rise of Skywalker during the script writing process by JJ and Chris. So we can all thank George Lucas, for bringing back Palpatine in a very specific way. And this new villain, specifically, I want to go over the Dark Acolyte, how this new villain eventually explains to Kylo and Rey that he has a pleasure of fighting both the dark and the light, but reveals that he is of a different medium of power, indicating and implying that there is going to be something far more powerful than just the dark side and the light, where he is actually something completely different and or somewhere around the middle, or maybe even something else entirely different. Now, the other one that I do want to go over here is how Rey eventually helps out Kylo Ren and uses the Force in order to go into mid-air and does a backflip and kicking this character out of the way, where he's Force choking Kylo Ren in mid-air, causing Kylo Ren to drop since the Force choke is interrupted. So all these sequences, including both Rey and Kylo Ren using the opposite lightsabers, is going to be fantastic imagery when they're fighting this new foe at the very end of Episode 9 within the third act. And like I've always expressed, guys, I think it's a real treasure right now, the fact that we are getting a Star Wars film where we are going to get a 2-on-1 battle. You know, both lightsabers and, of course, Force-related stuff in Episode 9, something that we have never seen since the prequel trilogy era. The spirit of Sidious, and using that power against both Rey and Kylo Ren. It would also explain as to why this villain is revealing all these different revelations of Darth Vader to Kylo Ren, and making him understand his grandfather a whole lot more. Makes a lot of sense now, right? Because Palpatine knows Darth Vader. Why would this random new villain know Darth Vader? It just wouldn't make sense. At least in my opinion. So, I would love to hear what you guys have to say about all this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.